In this video, I'm going to walk through how to show a buyer the average price point, and at least the minimal and the average price point you to expect to pay for a beachfront property. So to begin with, inside of MLS's quick search, we're going to look for just closed properties. And then we're going to look for single family detached. And next we need to look for the type of property. So if you don't see the kind of filter you need in the default list here, just add a field to the search. Now there's lots of different potential fields to search off of here. And if you're not sure what the name of it is, you can just try typing one in, like maybe we want oceanfront, and there's no oceanfront, it just says ocean view. Ocean view is not good enough for us, we need beachfront exactly. So retype that as beach, and there we have beach access and beachfront. For this, we're just interested in beachfront. I'm going to close that out. Now, if we stacked up a couple of different type searches, like either riverfront or deep water, you can do ands or ors in there to kind of make it a more complex search, but we won't go much deeper into that for this video here. And also for the sake of this, I'm going to leave off Edisto Island, since Edisto Island is kind of quite a different thing from a typical Charleston buyer. We could do this again just specifically looking at Edisto. For the time being, I'm going to limit us to Seabrook, Kaiwah, Folly, Isle Palms, and Sullivan's. I'm actually going to stop the map here because apparently there's a glitch that pulled in some random property up there. An agent apparently mistakenly clicked beachfront on that property. And so that gets us down to 55 properties. So on one hand, you can always just take this list and search it by price, or sort it by price, I should say. And if we're looking at how cheap can you buy beachfront property, we can sort it in ascending order. And that does show us that surprisingly, you can get a handful of properties for right at or under $1 million. Coincidentally, these are all right in the same area. And let me look into the map to show you a little bit more about that. So these lower priced properties are all on Folly. This is what's called past the washout. Because essentially, whenever a hurricane comes, if there's a king tide, there's large areas of the road here gets completely washed out, and these homes become inaccessible. I'm going to have to assume, and this is straight assumption, that insurance on these homes is likely to be drastically high, as well as, again, during bad weather. This is the washout area here where the water comes really close to the road. That again, it's not the typical buy it to live in kind of house. I'm going to assume this is another area here where you can't get through on the road. So again, great for a summer property, great for a rental, but as far as day-to-day living, that it's hard to recommend that. Nonetheless, hey, there are some properties out there for under $1 million that are beachfront. You can get your hands on right there. Quickly, it goes above that 1.2. And you're starting to go up from there, and you know, some of these are almost like row house style housings. Another way to look at this is to go over here to the compare listings, and this area sometimes works and sometimes doesn't. A lot of numbers on the screen, takes a while to really soak it all in. Apparently an agent mistakenly listed a property at $42 million, and I'm guessing they went back in and updated it to be $4.2 million. Since nothing in Charleston is that price point. But what this does show you is that the average price point for beachfront property is original asking price 3.6 to down to 2.8 with a sale price of 2.7. So that right there tells you that somewhere in the high twos is the average price point for beachfront property. The low ones are right at $1 million, but those are clearly few, far between. And there's, I'm not going to use the word stigma, that's too negative of a word, but basically you have to definitely want that property where it is and understand the ramifications to it. So generally though, you can just look at this compare tab and it will automatically just look at the averages across the board out of 55 properties sold last year in 2020. The average price point for beachfront is $2.5 million. There you go.